Ah, the Annex, a student quarter filled with young professionals, new money, and artisanal cheese shops. It is here where our story begins. This is our protagonist, a sad little man whose pastimes include masturbation and feeling sorry for himself, activities he frequently combines. His name is Benjamin, and here he is holed up in his den while his more active roommates taunt him with their constant regime of self-improvement. This is his house in the city, a far cry from the isolated prairie homestead he grew up in. It is a frigidly cold and uncompromising winter. Look, this is Ben's window, and this is the bane of his pitiful existence, the feral rock dove, aka the common pigeon. Ben can stand them no longer. They are outside his window day and night with their cooing and flapping and shitting. Ah, the shit. Shit on the ledge, shit on the wall, and this is not the only thing they drop. Crackers and seeds, various lunch meat stolen from school children, and even the occasional fish head. How will Ben survive the melancholy winter? His window to the world has been tainted. There is only one thing he can do: fight back. He will make a documentary about his struggles and expose the pigeons for the winged hell beasts they are. He will show what it takes to survive on the mean streets of Toronto. He will prove himself king of the castle. He will show everyone that he is the ruler of the Roost. This is Maxime, Benjamin's friend of many years. The pigeons also live outside his window. Maxime's girlfriend has left to Europe, so he regresses back to his first love, the clarinet. The pigeons taunt him like grade school bullies. Maxime tries to sleep, but the pigeons have other plans. Ah, Maxime has finally found rest, on the living room couch. He travels to work early and stays there late, for at work there are no pigeons. Or so he thinks. There may be no physical pigeons here, but there are always pigeons of the mind. Life begins on the other side of despair, Maxime. Open yourself to the gentle indifference of the world. Meanwhile, Benjamin and his other roommates construct fake owls to dissuade pigeons from roosting on his window.
I talk through my neck hole. Cool.
Godspeed, brave owl. You are Ben's only hope. Benjamin places his owls facing the pigeon roost. An early test of the clay owls proves successful. But the next day, the larger owl's wings have been pecked off. Its body is nowhere to be found. Benjamin travels to an interview with bird specialist Mark Nash. He and his cameraman Roberto make the long journey to Don Valley, which, for legal rights, we will refer to as Volkswagen. This is the only place they could catch Mark. He is waiting for his car to be serviced.
Good afternoon, Mark Nash, co-founder, Canadian Peregrine Foundation. Pigeons are a huge problem. Pigeons are now connected or associated with some 62 known diseases, bacteria that can be found in pigeon excrement. And I think a half a dozen of these now are actually communicable diseases, such as herpes and chlamydia. So I'm very serious. Of course, as the pigeon excrement dries, and it does dry, it becomes almost powder-like, and it's airborne now. So it's no longer just a solid or a liquid or a mucky mass. It now can become airborne. You can inhale. The owls, the plastic raptors, of course, are being sold at a lot of the hardware stores and a lot of the home and garden places. And for pigeons, they don't work. It doesn't take them very long to recognize that that's not alive. Listen, live with them. They're here to stay. There's no doubt about that. So how do we work? How do we live with it? How do we make the place inhabitable for all of us and work with, I have neighbors I don't like either that I have to deal with. So a pigeon, not a problem. Looks like the car's ready, and I'm out of here. Have a great afternoon, guys.
Au revoir, Marc. Bonne chance, mon ami. Benjamin is at his wit's end. He is staring into the abyss, and the abyss is staring back. He watches the interview footage, and his newfound knowledge haunts him.
Herpes, chlamydia, herpes, chlamydia, herpes, chlamydia, herpes.
Ben decides it is in his best interest to get tested for diseases he may have picked up from the pigeon shit. He's all smiles now, but in 2 to 3 weeks, he may not be smiling. Benjamin has not found a satisfying solution to his problem. He refuses to live with it, as Marc suggested. He wants to conquer, to assert his dominance, to show his cock is bigger than that of the pigeons. But everything changes in a matter of seconds, as it so often does in films. Benjamin is about to get on the metro when he notices a wounded pigeon stuck on a streetcar track. He is without camera, but luckily captures the action on his cell phone. Ah! The pigeon is hit, but it survives. Ben is astonished by what happens next. Another pigeon approaches the wounded bird on the track and guides it into the path of the oncoming streetcar. The pigeon is no more. It is yet another victim of these mean streets. Whether this was a botched attempt at a rescue or an act of merciful euthanasia, Benjamin is touched beyond belief. Perhaps the pigeons are more than mindless rats with wings. Perhaps they think and feel as we do. Perhaps there is a grand unified structure to the universe, and all plants and animals that have ever existed and never will exist make up a small part of one being of sweetness and light. And perhaps that being shares a soul with God. Benjamin is woken up early by his window pigeons, but he does not mind, for it is such a lovely day. The sun has finally come out, and the great melting of winter has begun. Benjamin travels back to the subway and notices a man feeding a mass of pigeons. He is making a documentary for the CBC, and he asks Ben for advice. Treat them well, Ben says, for their bones may be hollow, but their hearts and their minds are full of respect and fraternal love. The man from the CBC slowly backs away from Ben as the pigeons take flight. It is the most beautiful sight Benjamin has ever seen.